So for my research project, I decided to draw each circle of Dante's Inferno using the different styles of different popular artists. Circle 1 is Limbo, and I used the style of Leonardo da Vinci. So the picture that I'm drawing is a picture from a website that depicted what Dante's Inferno most likely looked like. So at the beginning, here I am sketching out, using Leonardo da Vinci's style, sketching out the picture from the website. And so there's just a few people just sitting around being, just chilling around in a circle, kind of bored, they really don't have any much purpose. And I used Leonardo da Vinci's sketching, because when I think of him, that's kind of the first pieces of work that I think of. A lot of people think of his sculptures, but I go straight to where he started, and that's his sketching. So here is me sketching Circle 1 of Dante's Inferno, Limbo. Alright, so here we go to Circle 2, which is Lust. I used the style of Vincent van Gogh. This is honestly probably where it started to take a turn. The rest of the circles pretty much turned out pretty bad. The sketching, I had really high hopes for this whole project, and then as I slowly started getting through it, I realized that I'm not a genius when it comes to painting, and when it comes to using other people's style. It was very difficult. I definitely had bigger expectations of myself, but I thought I would continue because it shows that you can totally start a research project or start any type of project, and it kind of takes a turn, and I was like, I could totally work with this. So this is where the turn of the video, right at the beginning, is when it turns into a more please laugh at me. This is using art in a funny way, and I showed this to my sister and she thought I was pretty good. The whole Van Gogh swirls, but it's definitely an amateur artist. So I used again the picture from the website to depict these two people just kind of loving on each other. But I did use Van Gogh's kind of swirl method. I used a little bit of yellow. I used blue. You can't really see it. The audio or the visual quality is a little off, and there's me eating. But this is Lust. Alright, so here is Circle 3, which is Gluttony. I used the style of Rembrandt. I don't know many of his paintings, but this one showed kind of the bright colors that he uses, and I was really struggling with figuring out how to get these kinds of tones. So I went with the darker, kind of the yellow from the guy in the back, his cloak. And also, so my painting, this was supposed to be a person laying on the ground. Totally not it. So I changed it halfway through. This is more like a Picasso. You gotta step back. You gotta work with me here, guys. This is at the end of this clip. This is a larger man underneath something. I don't know exactly what he's underneath, but then again, Circle 3 depicts sinners being like submerged under things and being forced to lie underneath things. So I was going to use like a pile of people, but when the lighter lady did not really look like a lady, I kind of turned it into like a tree branch, kind of like a cloak or something. I don't know. The color is all there. It's totally Rembrandt, but exactly what is the subject, I have no idea. It is up for interpretation. It is there for you to interpret, and that is my artist's. That's what I can say as an artist. I'm allowed to say that. So we will continue with Circle 3, Gluttony. Alright, so this is the exact moment in the video that I completely went on the humor side of things. At first, the last two, I was really trying to, like, okay, maybe I can pass this as being a little bit of seriousness. But then Michelangelo hit, and I saw that creation of Adam, and I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. It's too good. So Circle 4 is Greed, and so I used Michelangelo's style, and I painted Adam reaching out, and instead of God, because it's greed, he is reaching out to a dollar bill. And to emphasize that that is God, I put the halo around it and a little white beard depicting God. So there is that. Alright, so this one, the same as the Rembrandt one, this is one that I'm gonna need you to really give me some leeway on this. So I had Claude Monet for Circle 5, which is anger. I used reds and blues to depict like anger and kind of just being, you know, just that mad feeling. And because it's a very like abstract painting of lilies, I just turned the lilies into a mad face, and it kind of works. Alright, so then we move on to Circle 6, which is Heresy, and I use the style of Pablo Picasso. I remember in like elementary school we learned all about Picasso, and in art class we would go through his style and we would create our own portraits. I definitely did it better in elementary school. Here, I didn't wash my paint out of my brush. I had mixed colors. You know, this painting is a tomb that is on fire because that is what the sinners of heresy are punished with. They are underneath a tomb that is set ablaze, and so this is a very, very terrible, terrible illustration of a tomb that is on fire. The fire is kind of where I put the Picasso style in, different colors, kind of being blocky with the flames. But you really, again, with the rest of these, you gotta give me some leeway here. I am not an artist. Thought I was, but this definitely proved me wrong. Alright, so then we move on to Circle 7, which are Centers of Violence, and I use the style of Raphael. I don't know if this is like his most famous work. I couldn't I can't remember what else he's painted, but this is the most important work that I've recognized. This picture here is in the Vatican, I'm pretty sure, and it was the cover of my 7th grade history book. So when I saw it, I was like, I know exactly what that is, I know who it is, I know where it's at, and I'm going to do this one. So the sinners of violence are in a lake of blood, like hot blood, and so I just used the arch of Raphael's arch, and I put blood and I put people in it, and that is violence. Alright, so now we're moving on to circle 8, which is fraud. I am using the style of Auguste Renoir. I've seen his work. He reminds me of Monet, but I've never really studied him or anything. So I just tried to use the colors. So that's the blue that I'm putting on, and you can't really tell that there's red that I'm using as the person in the ditch, surrounded by stone walls. Alright, last and definitely least is circle 9, which is treachery. I use the style of Jean Vermeer. I'm not really familiar with him. I obviously know the girl in the pearl earring, but I did not know that this was him. So this is treachery where Satan is, and it's in a frozen lake, so there is treachery. So there is Limbo, Lust. I mean, we've got close-ups of everything. Gluttony really just looks like... I have no idea. I mean, I was going back through here and editing. I mean, that's greed. I gave him a little smile. I could not stop laughing at how silly this became. But I think it represents, like, art in general. You know, people interpret things so much. There's the money that represents greed and God. But just art in general just can be interpreted in so many different ways. And I think that this anger, see, look, there it is. Heresy is the tomb. Tomb on fire. Pablo Picasso. Fraud. People who commit fraud. They're thrown in a ditch. There's violence, the sea of blood with Raphael's arch, and then treachery. There is Satan in a frozen lake. But it just represents that art can be interpreted in so many different ways. And here's my mess, and it was all over my hands. But a little bit of dawn, got it right off. So I guess to summarize, I mean, here is me. This is just a different angle of me doing it, painting and figuring stuff out. But to summarize, I mean, some pictures, I really loosely went about this research project because that's just what art is, you know. Some pictures that I drew were from the website that I found. Some of them were my own interpretations, like the Michelangelo, I used his work rather than the picture from the website, and I put the little money there with a little halo. So there's just different interpretations all around. I really went with it and really tried to embody what each circle was, and by using colors and just like the placement of the canvas, kind of going in a circle, you know, like circle 1, 2, 3, and it kind of went around and it ended up right at the top. But here's just me speeding through, doing all this. I really had a good time. It was a good... Art is something that I've always went to just kind of relax. And during these crazy, crazy times, crazy and sad times, you know, we kind of gravitate towards art, painting, drawing, dogs. I mean, my dog was there the whole time. He thought that the paint was food, you know. So we gravitate towards food too, you know. So it's what we gravitate towards, and it's good, and intentions are good, and this was great. So hopefully this was coherent. This was a little entertaining to watch, something exciting to happen in our day. So thank you, and I will leave you. There is about 2 or 3 more minutes of this little fast speed of me painting, and please laugh. All right.